Srimad Bhagavatam 4:31-10. Kim janmabhistribhirveha shaukra savitrayagnikaihi karmabhirvatrayi proktaihi pumsopi vibudhayusha. Kim, what is the use? Janmabhi, of births. Tribhi, three. Va, or iha, in this world. Shaukra, by semen. Savitra, by initiation. Yagnikai, by becoming a perfect Brahmana. Karmabhi, by activities. Va, or Trayi, in the Vedas. Proktai, instructed. Pumsaha, of a human being. Api, even. Vibudha, of the demigods. Ayusha, with the duration of life. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: a civilized human being has three kinds of births. The first birth is by a pure father and mother, and this birth is called birth by semen. The next birth takes place when one is initiated by the spiritual master, and this birth is called Savitra. The third birth, called Yagnika, takes place when one is given the opportunity to worship Lord Vishnu. Despite the opportunities for attaining such births, even if one gets the lifespan of a demigod, if one does not actually engage in the service of the Lord, everything is useless. Similarly, one's activities may be mundane or spiritual, but they are useless if they are not meant for satisfying the Lord. Please repeat. A civilized human being has three kinds of births. The first birth is by a pure father and mother, and this birth is called birth by semen. The next birth takes place when one is initiated by the spiritual master, and this birth is called Savitra. The third birth, called Yagnika, takes place when one is given the opportunity to worship Lord Vishnu. Despite the opportunities for attaining such births, even if one gets the lifespan of a demigod, if one does not actually engage in the service of the Lord, everything is useless. Similarly, one's activities may be mundane or spiritual, but they are useless if they are not meant for satisfying the Lord. Purport. The word Shaukra Janma means taking birth by seminal discharge. Animals can take their birth in this way too. However, a human being can be reformed from the Shaukra Janma as recommended in the Vedic civilization. Before the birth takes place, or before father and mother unite, there is a ceremony called Garbhadhana Samskara, which must be adopted. This Garbhadhana Samskara is especially recommended for higher castes, especially the Brahmana caste. It is said in the Shastras that if the Garbhadhana Samskara is not practiced among the higher castes, the entire family becomes Shudra. It is also stated that in this age of Kali, everyone is Shudra due to the absence of the Garbhadhana Samskara. This is the Vedic system. According to the Pancharatrika system, however, even though everyone is a Shudra due to the absence of the Garbhadhana Samskara, if a person has but a little tendency to become Krishna conscious, he should be given the chance to elevate himself to the transcendental platform of devotional service. Our Krishna consciousness movement adopts this Pancharatrika Vidhi as advised by Srila Sanatana Goswami, who says, Yatha kanchanatam yati kamsyam rasa vidhanatah tatha dīkṣā vidhanena dvijatvam jayate nirnam. As bell metal, when mixed with mercury, is transformed to gold, a person, even though not golden pure, can be transformed into a Brahmana or Dvija simply by the initiation process. Haribhakti Vilas, chapter 2, text 12. Thus, if one is initiated by a proper person, he can be accepted as twice born immediately. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we therefore offer the student his first initiation and allow him to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. By chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly and following the regulative principles, one becomes qualified to be initiated as a Brahmana, because unless one is a qualified Brahmana, he cannot be allowed to worship Lord Vishnu. This is called Yajnika Janma. In our Krishna consciousness society, unless one is twice initiated, first by chanting Hare Krishna and second by the Gayatri Mantra, he is not allowed to enter the kitchen or deity room to execute duties. However, when one is elevated to the platform on which he can worship the deity, his previous birth does not matter. Chandalopi dvijashrestho haribhakti parayanaha haribhakti vihinascha dvijopi swapachadhamaha. Even if one is born in the family of a Chandala, if one engages in the devotional service of the Lord, he becomes the best of Brahmanas. But even a Brahmana who is devoid of devotional service is on the level of the lowest dog eater. Swapachadhama. Swapacha is already a very low position. Swapacha means what? When you nod your head, I expect you to understand. Swapacha means one who eats dog. Shva means dog. Shva. Pacha means one who cooks. Cooks means you will eat after that. So Shvapacha means one who eats dogs. Chandala means one who eats dogs. So Shvapacha Adhama, he is already low. Among the Swapacha is also lowest, even if he is a Brahmana by birth or born in Brahmana family. But if there is no devotional service, then he is Swapacha Adhama. If a person is advanced in devotional service, it does not matter whether he was born in a Chandala family. He becomes purified. As Sri Prahlad Maharaj said, Viprad Vishad Guna Yutadara Vindanabha Padara Vinda Vimukhat Shvapacham Varishtham Manye Tadarpita Mano Vachane Hitartham Pranam Punati Sakulam Natu Bhurimana. Actually, the full verse is that. Even if one is a Brahmana and is qualified with all the Brahmanical qualifications, he is considered degraded if he is averse to worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if a person is attached to the service of the Lord, he becomes glorified even if he is born in a Chandala family. Indeed, such a Chandal can deliver not only himself but all his family predecessors. Pranam Punati Sakulam. In that verse 7, 9, 10. Sakulam means along with his Kula, his entire dynasty will be purified. Without devotional service, even a proud Brahmana cannot deliver himself, and what to speak of his family. In many instances in the Shastras, it is seen that even a Brahmana has become a Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Mlecha or non-Brahmana. And there are many instances of one's being born a Kshatriya or Vaishya or even lower, and in the 18th year attaining elevation to the Brahmanical platform by the process of initiation. Therefore, Narada Muni says, Yasya yallakshanam proktam pumso varnabhivyanjakam yadanyatrapi drishyeta tattenaiva vinirdishet. These verses we must learn by heart. These verses are very commonplace verses for Vaishnava Siddhanta or Vaishnava philosophy. These are commonplace verses. No, stop talking. Stop talking. I don't want any talks. So, these are commonplace verses which every Vaishnava should know. Yeah? Why not Brahmana by birth? why it is wrong. So we have to understand, we have to be able to quote these verses. Seven 11:35. It is not a fact that because one is born in a Brahmana family, he is automatically a Brahmana. He has a better chance to become a Brahmana, but unless he meets all the Brahmanical qualifications, he cannot be accepted as such. On the other hand, if the Brahmanical qualifications are found in the person of a Shudra, he should immediately be accepted as Brahmana. To substantiate this, there are many quotations from Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, Bharadwaj Samhita. We have a Bharadwaj Prabhupada. And the Pancharatra, as well as many other scriptures. As far as the duration of life of the demigods concerning Lord Brahma, it is said, Sahasrayuga Paryantam Aharyad Brahmano Viduhu Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam Teho Ratra Vidojanaha. The duration of one day of Brahma is 1000 times greater than the 4 yugas, aggregating 4,320,000 years. Similarly, Brahma's one night. Brahma lives for 100 years of such days and nights. The word Vibudhayusha indicates that even if one gets a long lifespan, his lifespan is useless if he is not a devotee. A living entity is the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord, and unless he comes to the platform of devotional service, his lifespan, good birth, glorious activities, and everything else are null and void. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dīnabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, very important verse, very significant points are made in this verse and the purport. We don't have much time. Kim janmabhis tribhirveha shaukra savitra yagmikai. So, we always have seen the word dvija, twice born. The Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are twice born. Among them, especially the Brahmanas, are the Dvija Shrestha, the foremost among the twice born. Now the Vaishya may not receive the third one, which is the Yagnika Dīkṣā. He may receive the second one, which is Savitra. That means second birth, The second birth is actually first initiation. What are the 3 types of births? Shaukra, Savitra, Yagmikai. So, Shaukra is coming from the word Shukra. Shukra means semen. Shukracharya is the guru of the demons. So this Asuric understanding of Guru or caste is by the understanding of seminal descent. That means from father to son, father to son. So Daiva Varnashram and Asura Varnashram is mentioned by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I think 396. Not sure. No. Madhya 3.6 I think. Oh, 11.3.27. Sorry, 11.23.57. Sorry. To date, this is actually commented upon by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Okay. So now, they simply think of merging into the existence of Brahman because of the disgust with the material. The Acharyas who advocate the Daiva Varnashram, the social order of Chatur Varnyam mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. What is that mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Not according to Janma Vibhagashaha. Vibhaga means division, and it is based on Guna and Karma, according to the qualities and work of that person. And that qualities are determined by the modes of material nature that he is under. So, classifying on that merit-based society, Varnashram, that is called Daiva Varnashram. That means that is the real Varnashram ordained by Krishna. Now, the Acharyas who advocate the Daiva Varnashram, the social order of Chaturvarnyam mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, do not accept the proposition of Asura Varnashram, which maintains that the social order of Varna is indicated by birth. The Shaukra, or the Shukracharya, who is the demon guru of the demons. So the demons are the one who Shukra Acharya means literally Acharya by seminal authority, not according to real qualification. So nowadays in India, the caste system is being accepted as descent by birth, and that is not correct. Yesterday also in the evening session we were explaining the word Gotra. Gotra, although it descent by birth, that was incidental. Like for example, Kshatriyas, they also descend by birth, right? King, father, son, then he becomes king, then his son becomes king. Is that not a nepotism? Well, it resembles nepotism, but in that case, in those times, the son actually had the qualifications of a Kshatriya, and therefore he became king. Although the son became the king, but not just because he was son of a Kshatriya, but because he was son and he was qualified. More than the fact that he was a son of a Kshatriya, he was actually qualified as a Kshatriya, and that's why he took up the position. And when in the case of Vena he was not qualified to rule, then he was killed by the Brahmanas, and Prithu Maharaj was reinstated there. So, this Gotra is also actually by teachings, Prokta. So, in the 12th canto, 6th and 7th chapters, Vyasadeva, how he, disseminated the Vedic knowledge by dividing into many branches, and his disciples further divided them into many branches. And according to that, this thing is coming. Like for even example, Krishna quoted a disciplic succession in the Bhagavad Gita. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manavepraham manurikshvakave bravit. This is all in the same dynasty, Suryavamsha. Now, was it actually a seminal this thing? No. It happened to be, but that is not the primary consideration. That is not even a consideration. The consideration is, although they were sons, they were also disciples. Like Narada was son of Brahma, but he was also a disciple. So, in that way, so Brahman also same, it's exactly the same. There is never by just birth. Why then the birth is considered? It is only because by being born in a Brahmana family, he has a very good chance of becoming a Brahmana. That's why it is advantageous, Brahmana birth. But if that Brahmana family, so-called Brahmana family, is not following any rules and regulations and going against and still considering themselves Brahmanas, that is completely a disturbance to the social order, disturbance to the spiritual advancement of human society. What is that? Shruti smriti puranadi pancharatra vidhim vina aikantika harer bhakti utpataya eva kalpate. This acceptance by seminal descent is not Shruti smriti puranadi pancharatra vidhi. None of the vidhis. In the Shrutis it is not said, Smriti it is not said, Pancharatra and Purana it is not said. There is mention, yes, the Brahmana's son, but it is only after the reformatory processes are done, beginning with Garbhadhana Samskara. Then there is, of course, the Janma, then there is Jata Samskara, then there is Aksharabhyasa, then there is Dīkṣā, which is the Upanayana, when he approaches the spiritual master. But so-called Brahmin families, they just want to have the Janayu, the sacred thread. It's very important, you must do. What is important about it? They don't know. So, just as a matter of ritual, as a custom, without any meaning, is useless. Who will do activities which have no productive result? If a business analyst, a consultant comes to a company and he sees the operations to improve the business processes, he will consult and he will say, okay, these activities are taking up too much resources and producing a little bit result or no result, so just cut down these things and increase funding in this particular area, and then you more productive. I mean, it's a common thing. And if that is common even among ordinary businessmen, why in life we do things without any productive gain from those things? Now just to put some thread. What relevance does it have in life? Without a guru, without a proper process, what does it mean? What does a certificate mean without the qualification of a bachelor's or a master's degree? Paper I can print here. I can print in our printer here. Temple we have printer. We can print one certificate here. Harvard we can make. So this thread is like that certificate. That this person is under the care of a guru. He is a disciple of somebody, some proper bona fide guru. That is the just like a woman. A woman is known by her dressing and her hairstyle. A woman has middle parting and then the kumkum. Is a married woman. So, and if she is a prostitute, Prabhupada actually mentioned. Prostitute means side part. Prostitute. So just by looking we can understand what is the status. Whether husband is at home or husband is overseas. Just by her dress we can understand. If she is all ornamented, decked up, okay, husband is there. If she is not very attractively dressed, attractive means not obscene. We are talking about well dressed. So if she is simply dressed, maybe husband is overseas. So there are many signs and symptoms. Similarly, a man is known whether he is even dogs have a collar and a number, sometimes oh, they are under somebody's care, somebody's this thing. Whether they are caring or not, that's another different issue. But there is classification like that. So similarly, a person who is having threat, he's following, he's a disciple of somebody. He is following the Vedic reformatory processes. So if he does not do that, if I have a fake certificate, I'll be punished by law, right? If I present and then I get a job because of a fake certificate, eventually if it is found out, it is fraud. So what is happening is fraud in India in the name of caste system. It's a fraud. Fake certificate, what is it genuine? 2 paisa thread. There's no value. So this is Asura Varnashram, not based on Guna Karma Vibhagasha, but just Janma. So here it is said in this verse, today's verse, that even if one receives, apart from Shaukra Janma, which everybody gets, Savitra and Yagnik Janma, even if he gets, if he does not engage in devotional service, it's very important. If he does not engage in devotional service, then that is useless. There is a very, very nice essay. I hope I can just find it. By Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, The essay is, I think, titled Putana. What is that? Just give me a second here. It's very instructive, this essay. No, it's actually, maybe I'm wrong. If somebody can help me with this link, maybe by WhatsApp or something. There is a there is an essay by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on initiation. Is that the essay? If I can only read that, it's very, very instructive. I don't know if anybody sent by WhatsApp. So there is a very instructive essay written by, you gave this, is it? But does it have that thing? Jai Shri Shri Radha. Anyway, I'll just summarize it. So the thing is, what he's saying is that it's very instructive. I just get very frustrated when I can't find this thing. I don't know where I read it. Okay, anyway, what he says there is that initiation does not have the same effect on everyone. Initiation does not have the same, even if we get from the same bona fide spiritual master, it will not have the same effect on everyone, because it depends on how eagerly one takes up the instruction of the spiritual master. That's the sum and substance of that essay. So, if I don't follow, despite having all the advantages of a second birth and a third birth, if I don't follow, then it is no use. It's zero use. So in this connection, there is a verse in the Bhagavatam also, 11.5.5, Srimad Bhagavatam. Vipro rajanya vaishyova hare praptah padantikam shrautena janmanathapi muhyantyadnaya vadinah. Got it? What is the title of that essay? Initiation. So it's not Putana. Okay, we'll read that. Okay, this verse 11.5.5. On the other hand, the Brahmanas are members of the royal order and Vaishyas, even after being allowed to approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Hari by receiving the second birth of Vedic initiation, can become bewildered and adopt various materialistic philosophies. Why does this happen? Why does this happen? Because one does not follow the instructions of the spiritual master. He falls down. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 12th chapter 8 through 12th verse, in these verses, I don't know, you have seen that? We have, Prabhu has quoted it many, many times. प्रथमेत एकमत आचार्यर गण पाछे दुईमत होइलो दैवेर कारण. At first, all the followers of Advaita Acharya shared a single opinion, but later they followed two different opinions as ordained by providence. You can read the purports. These are very, instructional purports. केहो तो आचार्य आज्ञाए केहो तो स्वतंत्र स्वमत कल्पना करे दैव परतंत्र. Some of the disciples strictly accepted the orders of the Acharya and others deviated, independently concocting their own opinions under the spell of Daivi Maya. Acharya मत जय शै मत सार तार आज्ञा लघि चले चैत असार. This actually verse should be memorized. Acharya मत जय शै मत सार तार आज्ञा लघि चले चैत असार. The order of the spiritual master is the active principle in spiritual life. Anyone who disobeys the order of the spiritual master immediately becomes useless. असारेर नामे यहाँ नाहे प्रयोजन भेद जाने बारे करे एकत्र गणन. There is no need to name those who are useless. I have mentioned them only to distinguish them from the useful devotees. So there are, after being initiated also, when becoming useless. धान्य राशि मापे जैसे पातना सहिते पश्चाते पातना उड़ाया संस्कार करिते. Paddy is mixed with straw at first and one must fan it to separate the paddy from the straw. So the separation of the paddy from the straw is that we cannot associate with those who, even in the having the looks of a devotee. What is that song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur? एतो एक कलिर चेला माथा नेड़ा कपने पड़ा तिलक नाके गलाय माला. And then what is that? देखते वैष्णवेर मता आसल शाक्त काजर भेला. He is a Shakta. सहज भजन करछेन मामू Sange pore, sange loya porer bala. He dances with other people's daughters. Sange loya porer bala. What is that? ये तो है खालेर चला नाके तिलक गलाय माला माथा नेड़ा shaven head माथा नेड़ा कपनी पोड़ा he is wearing a kopin like a mendicant tilak नाके गलाय माला he has tilak and galay external symptoms of a Vaishnava, symbolism of a Vaishnava. Internal character is crap. So he is not Vaishnava. Shakta means worshipper of material energy. Durga. A worshipper of Durga is called Shakta. But not only a worshipper of Durga by the Archana method, but also those who worship material energy. That means those who regard material sense gratification as the highest thing, and they chase after this, they worship material sense gratification, this material nature. That is also Shakta. Every karma, every sense enjoyer is a Shakta. He is a Shakta. So because he worshipped the Shakti of Krishna, the Bahiranga Shakti. So that's why he is Shakta. So that kind of Vaishnava, he does not follow the instructions of the Guru, Acharyar Mata, Jai Shai Mata Sar. This is how he falls away from this thing. So Sandipani Muni mentioned So तुष्टोहम भो द्विजश्रेष्ठाः सत्याः सन्तु मनोरथाः छन्दांसि अयातयामानि भवन्त्विह परत्र च. Sandipani Muni was tushtoham. He was very satisfied with his disciples. The Guru was satisfied with his disciples, Krishna and Sudama. And therefore he blessed them by saying Chandansi ayatayamani. The teachings of the Vedas will never grow old for you or never lose their meaning for you. See, you boys are the best of the twice born, Vijashrestha. And I am satisfied with you. May all your desires be fulfilled and may the Vedic mantras you have learned never lose their meaning for you in this world or the next. Now, who is Vijashrestha? Those who have been having received the second initiation, who actually follow 100% the instructions of the Guru. He is Vijashrestha. And because Krishna and Sudama took great risk in following the orders of the spiritual master, he called them Vijashrestha. Sudama was a Brahmana by his designation. Krishna was, he came as a Kshatriya, but still he called him Vijashrestha. Of course, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But more importantly, the context is that because he followed the instruction of the spiritual master. And that's the qualification of Vijashrestha. So so the advantages, we have to, let's read that essay. Where is it? Chat, is it? I mean, WhatsApp. Initiation into spiritual life. Yeah, that is the. Let's see if we can. I don't know if you can see it. Not so visible, right? Actually, one time. I don't know how to get rid of the sidebar, which is taking up a lot of real estate. So, okay. This is the maximum I can do. So, this he wrote in Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote in 1928, and it was there in the Sajjan Doshan magazine. This adaptation, why this adaptation is there? Somebody adapted the writing. So, anyway, this is the same words. The ceremony of Dīkṣā or initiation is that by which the spiritual preceptor admits one to the status of a neophyte on the spiritual on the path of spiritual endeavor. By initiation one becomes officially a neophyte. Official neophyte. The ceremony tends to confer spiritual enlightenment by abrogating sinfulness. So it takes away the sins and gives knowledge. That is actually Dīkṣā by Jiva Goswami. So that means he receives the knowledge from the spiritual master and the sinful activities are nullified. Now, its actual effect depends on the degree of willing cooperation on the part of the disciple. It is therefore not the same in all cases. It does not preclude the possibility of the novice reverting to the non-spiritual state if he slackens in his effort or misbehaves. So that means initiation does not guarantee us a protection from falling down. No. Initiation puts a person on the true track and also imparts an initial impulse to go ahead. It cannot, however, keep one going for good unless one chooses to put forth his own voluntary effort. So it gives us a kickstart in our spiritual life. Initial impulse, and it gives us the method how to go. But we have to, Prabhupada said, we have to flap our wings. The leader bird leads many hundreds and thousands of birds in the sky. But it does not mean that the leader bird is doing everything. No, he is showing the way. But the follower birds have to flap their wings, and not only flap their wings. The leader bird is going, he is flapping his wings this way, so he will go somewhere else. Flapping and looking at what path the leader bird is showing and then flap the wings in that direction. Both important. So we have to flap our wings in the proper directions, two things. So that's why it is said, it cannot keep one going for good unless one chooses to put forth his own voluntary effort. The nature of the initial impulse also varies in accordance with the condition of the recipient. The initial impulse, how much initial impulse we will get, that also depends on the willingness of the. This is all provided the Guru is a bona fide spiritual master. If the Guru is not bona fide, everything is useless there. But if the Guru is bona fide, taking that as a constant, the variable is the disciple's willingness. Although the mercy of the good preceptor, that means the bona fide spiritual master, enables us to have a glimpse of the absolute and of the path of his attainment, the seed thus sown requires very careful tending under the direction of the preceptor. Yesterday we have been reading this. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the gardener. He is Malakar. Malakar Dharma means the gardener. A devotee has to be good gardener of the Bhakti Lata, creeper of Bhakti. And he has to be done under the guidance of the preceptor, guidance of the spiritual master, not independently. Only then will it germinate and grow into the fruit and shade-giving tree. After obtaining a working idea of his real nature, unless our soul of his own accord, voluntarily, chooses to serve Krishna, he cannot long retain the spiritual vision. This is the thing. Chandamsi ayata yamani. Why that spiritual vision will always be true for Krishna and Sudama? Because they are following the instruction. And if he does not, he cannot long retain the spiritual vision. Whatever we have learned, we will lose. We will lose it. The soul is never compelled by Krishna to serve him. So it is not a compelling thing. It is by voluntary effort. Our voluntary effort. Still, initiation is never altogether futile. It is not completely useless. It changes the disciple's outlook on life. If he sins after initiation, he may fall into greater depths of degradation than the uninitiated. Prabhupada said, a man who has not come to Krishna consciousness, he is third class. If a man comes to Krishna consciousness, he is first class. If man falls down after Krishna consciousness, he is fifth class. The greater depths of degradation than initiation. Because how can we go back after knowing all these things? Of course, it will not be for long. After some time, he will get back. But after having understood, non-devotees, they don't understand. They do not know. Okay, they are engaging whatever nonsense. After having understood, if we can still go there, that means how fool we are. So, although even after initiation, temporary setbacks may occur, they do not ordinarily prevent the final deliverance. This is why initiation is important. The faintest glimmering of the real knowledge of the Absolute has sufficient power to radically change for good our whole mental and physical constitution. Just faintest glimmering of the real knowledge. This glimmering is incapable of being totally extinguished except in extraordinarily unfortunate cases. So, even if one falls after initiation, whatever we have done, that will never be lost, and it is confirmed in this verse. (1519) न वैजनो जातु कथञ्चनां व्रजेन् मुकुन्द सेव्यन्यवदङ्ग संसृतिं स्मरन् मुकुन्दाङ्घ्रि उपगूहनं पुनर्विहातुमिच्छेन्नरसग्रहो जनः. My dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. So you see, this is corroborated by the statement. It is undoubtedly practical for the initiated, if only he is willing to follow the directions of the preceptor, leading by slow degrees to the Absolute. So he must, an initiated person should follow the directions of the preceptor. Then slowly he will advance towards Krishna. The good preceptor is verily the savior of fallen souls. It is, however, very rarely that a person affected by modern culture feels inclined to submit to the guidance of another. Modern culture, especially Western culture, if you bow down to someone, cult group, they call him cult. But this is a cult, if you call it a cult, we are a cult. We are the bona fide cult. Without cult, there is no culture. If culture belongs to a cult, what is culture? The set of practices and ideologies in a cult. That is a culture. So, ours is the cult of Krishna. Krishna is the leader and we bow down to him. Mam Namaskuru. And his servants, the Acharya. Everybody has a culture. Everybody bows down to something. Even mentally. Shakta means he bows down to material nature. He worships money for sense gratification. He chases after it. He will forego his sleep. He will risk his life. Just like a devotee will risk his life to serve Krishna, like Prabhupada went to risk his life, went to America. A karmi, he will risk his life for money to enjoy it. Nityartidena vittena. So, that is worship. Worship does not only mean offering incense and flowers. Worship means to hold something in very high esteem and serve that thing with life, body, words and life. So everybody is inclined, day and night after sense gratification. This is worship. This is worship. Just like people come here to give a donation, that is also worship. They pay the same money somewhere else for enjoyment, that is also worship. Worshipping what? Material nature for their sense gratification. So, it is, however, very rarely that a person affected with modern culture feels inclined to submit to the guidance of another. This is especially so in spiritual matters. But that very person will submit readily enough to the direction of a physician for being cured of bodily ailments. Anyway, this is, submission to the... Actually, this is also important, but this is a long essay you can read. But this is the point. The initiation does not hold the same thing. So it depends on our willingness. If we go to the purport today, Yatha Kanchanatam Yati. This bell metal So, the process is there that a person can be changed. Even if he is born in another family, he can be changed. But he must follow. And actually, let's go back to that purport there. 11.5.5. Here, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments. And what is that fall down? What is that various materialistic philosophies? Let's read the translation once more. You see here, on the other hand, Brahmanas are members of the royal order and Vaishyas, even after being allowed to approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Hari by receiving the second birth of Vedic initiation, can become bewildered and adopt various materialistic philosophies. It involves karma kanda, going to demigods worships, and impersonal or even just ordinary sense gratification, just like a materialist. Now, here Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he is saying that however Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out that they are actually laghu. Who is that? Who don't worship, you see. Where does it start? The significant point in this verse is that such bewildered materialists who have become attracted to the materialistic portions of the Vedas, muhyanti amnaya vadinah, desire to ignore the supreme proprietorship of the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme enjoyer. And at the same time they wish to preserve their exalted status as followers of the Vedic principles. Such duplicitous persons take shelter of materialistic philosophers such as Jaimini, who deny the existence of God as a tangible principle, and therefore recommend material fruitive activities as the highest knowable truth. Such so-called Vedic philosophers amount to little more than polished atheists and are therefore understood to be Anishvaravadinaha, those who preach against the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although foolish materialistic followers of the Varnashram system desire to maintain their exalted status as Aryans or twice-born men, and at the same time neglect the personality of Godhead, it is clearly stated in the Bhagavatam 11.5.3, Sthanat Bhrashta Patantyatha. That's also a very important verse in connection to today's verse. Such persons inevitably fall down from their position into a degraded condition of life. As confirmed in this verse by the word muhyanti, they fall into the darkness of ignorance. Sometimes such pompous persons even present themselves as gurus. However, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out that they are actually laghu. The opposite of guru is laghu. Guru means heavy, laghu means light, or flimsy rather than guru or heavy with Vedic knowledge. Why is a guru called guru? Because he is heavy with Vedic knowledge. Heavy with Vedic knowledge. And when we are heavy, just like when a tree is heavy with fruits, the tree will bend. There is vinaya. Vidya vinaya sampanna. So if vidya is not giving vinaya, vinamrita, gentleness, that is not vidya. That is he's fueling his pride. He actually does not have vidya, because a person who has vidya will come out of his false ego. He doesn't have false ego. So it is one's ultimate duty to oneself, swarthagati, and to the personality of Godhead to give up all materialistic activities characterized by karma and jnana and surrender fully at the lotus feet of the Lord. Only the most unfortunate person will consider that there is a higher pleasure than ecstatic surrender at the lotus feet of Gokulananda, the personality of Godhead. Sthanat bhrashtat patantyadaha. Any members of the four varnas and four ashramas who fail to worship the personality of Godhead, the source of their own creation, or who intentionally disrespect him, will fall down from their position into a hellish state of life. And of course we have the verses which are again very commonplace, but I hope the devotees have memorized. If they are not, they have to. 1-8 Dharma svanusthitah Pumsam Vishvaksena Kathasuyah Notpadayed Yadiratim Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam. It is called Varnashram. But without devotional service, it is just Shrama. Varnashrama becomes this shrama. So, what is that? The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position. That means his duties as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. So if it does not lead us to Vasudeva Katha Ruchi or Vasudeva Priti or attraction for Vasudeva, Krishna, it is a Shrama. And we will go to other verses on this as well. Because Prabhu showed yesterday this verse 7:28. Shadvarga samyam ekantaha sarva niyamachodanaha tadanta yadino yogan avaheyuh shrama avahaha. Ritualistic ceremonies, regulative principles, austerities and the practice of yoga are all meant to control the senses and mind. But even after one is able to control the senses and mind, if he does not come to the point of meditation upon the Supreme Lord, all such activities are simply labor in frustration. And if we get knowledge also, it is the same thing. Brahma is saying this. Shreyasritim bhakti mudasyate vibho klishyanti ye kevala bodha labdhaye tesham asau kleshala eva shishyate nanyadhyatha sthula tushavaghatinam. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self-realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in the cultivation of speculative knowledge, he will simply undergo a troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. As a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain, one who simply speculates cannot achieve self-realization. His only gain is trouble, which is also confirmed in this. Kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta saktachedasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhiravapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Shabda Brahmani Nishnato Nanishnayat Pare Yadi Shramastasya Shramapalo Hi Adhenum Ivarakshataha. If through meticulous study one becomes expert in reading Vedic literature but makes no endeavor to fix one's mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one's endeavor is certainly like that of a man who works very hard to take care of a cow that gives no milk. In other words, the fruit of one's laborious study of Vedic knowledge will simply be the labor itself. There will be no other tangible result. The other day Prabhu was quoting another verse also. It's useless if without Krishna. So there is this verse. 11? 22. Dharma satyadayopeto vidyava tapasanvita madbhaktyapedam atmanam nasamyak prapunatihi. Neither religious activities endowed with honesty and mercy nor knowledge obtained with great penance can completely purify one's consciousness if they are bereft of devotional service to me. Now, there's a very important thing regarding this before we close. This verse. Even after being a devotee, okay, because many of us working outside and engaging with so many materialistic people, not only among workplace but also as relatives, as friends and so-called neighbors or whatever. A devotee has to be careful regarding this. Now let's see. Nunam pramattah kurute vikarma yadindriya pretaya aprunoti na sadhu manye yata atmanoyam asannape kleshada asadeha. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activity. he does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification, by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. So, even after being a devotee, after having come into Krishna consciousness, if we don't take this seriously and think that, we can still enjoy material life a little bit here and there, we have not even entered properly Krishna consciousness. Now, this is why we will be defeated even if we are initiated, even if we become devotee. Parabhavastavad abodha jato yavanna jignasata atmatattvam yavat kriyastavad manovai karmatmakam yena sharira bandha. Sharira bandha is what we are against, right? So we have to, we should not get another material body and go back to Godhead and serve Krishna. Now, as long as we have karmatmakam, our mind is colored with fruitive activity, we will take another birth. So we can't just be in wishful thinking, oh yes, Krishna, enough, I don't want this material birth again. Just by saying it, it will not happen. If we are still interested in everything material, even after being a so-called devotee, that is an offense, 10th offense to, what is that? Not have complete faith and having many material attachments despite understanding so many instructions on this matter. This is offense. So, in that offensive stage, although it is said we have to repeatedly chant the Harinam to get out of the offenses, but it is also said that millions of births you can repeat your chanting will never get love of Godhead, never be purified if we keep the offenses. That means, what does it mean? In one place it is saying repeated chanting will get you out of offenses. Another place saying millions of births repeated chanting will not get you out of offense, you will still be. That means repeated chanting not simply without mindlessly parroting something. Your conscious effort must be there to avoid the offenses. That will happen if we complement our chanting with reading. In the Vaishnava songs, they are expansions of the Mahamantra. The moods in which the Vaishnavas are, the Acharyas have written the song, that is the mood in which one has to chant. You have to understand that I am a fallen soul. Not that when I am chanting, I am a great soul. Devahuti said, one who is chanting name is more greater than anybody. He has completed all Vedic studies. So I am actually a great scholar now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. This kind of nonsense chanting, Pratisthar tare nirjanar ghar tava harinam keval kaitav dushtaman tumi kiser Vaishnav. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said. Oh mind, what kind of nonsense, rascal Vaishnav you are. What kind of Vaishnav? This hammering must be there every day to our mind. Hammering. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a bit kind, saying chappal and broom. Hit your minds 100 times morning with chappal and hit your mind 100 times with a broom every night. Don't let it become proud. He was actually kind because broom and chappal is not so hard. Hammer. Shankaracharya wrote that song, Mohamudgara song, that Punarapi Chananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam, Iha Samsare, Bahudustare, Kripaya Pare, Pahi Murare. So this verse is there from the Mohamudgara. Moha means illusion, Mudgara means hammer. These verses, 33 verses are there in that. Hammering the illusion like anything. So to hammer our heads, hammer our minds. Because every time the mind is thinking, I am devotee, I will go back to Godhead. Yeah, I can still have some materialistic life, I can be comfortable, No. Please. Unless we are devoid of even a slightest tinge of material attraction, we are having zero admission into Vaikuntha. There is absolutely no chance. No need to even dream of it. No need to dream about it. So we are only wanting the result without any qualification. This is our problem. Asura mentality. Brahmana without any qualification. Similarly, I want to go back to Godhead without any qualification. What is this Asura mentality? You have to be We have to become daya bhak. We have to become, and we should not have the sense of entitlement. We should become eligible. So yavat kriyas tavad idam manome parabhavas. You see, as long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life. Another thing, devotee. When we become devotee, sometimes we stop inquiring anymore. In the beginning we had some inquiries, okay, we come to devotion, okay, now I understand everything, okay, I will chant Hare Krishna, finish. And then not taking it seriously. Not observing ourselves, not contemplating, not introspecting. This is a problem. It will create great problems in our spiritual life. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, one is defeated and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. Be it sinful or pious, karma has its result in actions. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. Now next verse makes it even more clear. Evam mana karma vasham prayumte avidyayatmanyupadhiyamane pritirna yavan mai vasudeve namuchyate deha yogena tavat pritirna yavan mai vasudeve. Vasudeva priti. When the living entity is covered by the mode of ignorance, he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being, and his mind is subjugated by fruitive activity. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, Vasudeva Priti, who is none other than myself, he is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again and again. Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Pritirna Yavan Mai Vasudeva. So that Priti Purvakam devotional service has to come. Spontaneously one has to be willing to serve. Not hiding away or escaping from service, or being lazy in the service. This is not good. We have to be active and do our best for Krishna. Whatever service we are given, give it full attention and full effort. That is the beginning of Preeti. Preeti does not only mean some ecstatic symptom. That is the later stage. That is well and good. But in the beginning, one has to have the Preeti for at least, okay, Krishna, I have to do something for Krishna. Otherwise my life is useless. Not that I am doing a big favor to the temple, that I have given up my, my materialistic life, family life, and I have come to temple, I am doing a great favor here, everybody. That is not the idea. That is not the idea. It is our own good. Yesterday also the whole topic in the class was that self-purification. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita not to show off, I am the greatest person who can write on Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not with that pride he wrote. He says, Jani vana jani kari apana shodhan. I am doing this for my own purification, whether I am aware of it or not. Jani vana jani. Sometimes I may forget that I am doing for my own purification. I think I am doing something great favor to others or great achievement, but actually I am only doing for my own purification. May I always remember that. That is his prayer. Always taking shelter of the devotees. So it is a great blessing that we have the opportunity of devotional service. It is not that we are doing a favor to Krishna or the devotees or the temple. Never. So, these are the points in today's verse. Any other questions or comments on this topic? Questions, stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanand.